Hi, welcome back to another crafting video sponsored by Bond Craftor. This time we're playing around with the UV resin that they sent me. This box comes with 3 bottles of 100 gram resin for a total of 300 grams. Also included are these 3 pointed nozzles. I'll show you a handy trick for opening your new bottles of UV resin. Take your pointed nozzle and just push it down through the aluminum seal on the bottle. Push it down all the way, and just like that, your aluminum seal is fully opened. Now, of course, if I'm using UV resin, I'll need a UV light, and I'm using my double-sided UV light today. I got this hair clip mold a short while ago, and I've been eager to try it. So let's go ahead and test out the UV resin on this little project today. I'll start by adding a thin layer of UV resin to each of the cavities. I'll use the pointed end of the silicone tool to smooth the UV resin out to all of the edges. Now I'll go over them very lightly with my torch just to pop any bubbles. And I'll go ahead and cure these for 1 minute. Okay, so the first thing I noticed about the UV resin is it's beautiful crystal clear, And also, there's no stickiness on the surface caused by oxygen inhibition. Considering oxygen inhibition has been a frequent battle of mine in the past, I'm delighted so far. I'll go ahead and try out Bond Crafter's mica powder on this project as well. Okay, because there's no oxygen inhibition to leave a sticky residue behind, the mica powder isn't sticking to it very well. So, easy enough, let's go to plan B. I'm adding another layer of UV resin on the top of this, and I'm just going to partially cure it, maybe about 30 or 40 seconds. Okay, the pieces are now a little bit tacky, maybe too tacky, but let's give it a try. Oh yes, the mica powder is adhering much better now. I really love these mica powders, and I think I'm going to use several of them on the other three to do sort of a mottled, splotchy effect. I'm just using a small makeup brush to lightly dab the mica powder on in just a random pattern. I do think I'm going to cure these pieces for just a few more seconds, as they are just a little bit too sticky. I'm laying down a paper towel to help prevent the mica from going everywhere. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. I used copper and a couple of shades of pinkish red on this one, and I think it turned out pretty cute. This one I'm going to do in a variety of blue shades and that blackish green color that I fell in love with in the last video. Ooh, it turned out so pretty. It reminds me a little bit of abalone. What to do with this one? I think maybe I want to use this gorgeous coffee shade. Yeah, and I think I'll pair it with the silver. It's a super thin piece, so it's difficult to show you in this light. I'll go ahead and cure these for another minute to make sure there's no stickiness left. Now, as you're probably aware, mica powder looks best when it's backed with black. But how do you do that with UV resin? Well, you could tint some 2-part epoxy with black pigment and apply that to the back. And that would work, but it would take a very long time to cure. But you can tint UV resin with black mica powder, and that works just as well. The only problem is you have to make it translucent enough for the UV light to pass through it to cure it. So here I'm just adding a tiny amount of this black mica powder to some UV resin, and I don't want it to be too opaque. It's always best to go on the low side and start with just a little bit of mica powder and then add more if you think it needs it. Okay, now I'll apply a thin layer of this to the back of this first piece and spread it out to the edges. And you'll see that it's not opaque, and once I start spreading it out, it really shows its translucence. Going over it with a little bit of heat from my torch not only pops bubbles, but it also allows the resin to thin and spread a little bit more evenly. And now I'll cure these for a full 5 minutes. See how it makes that gorgeous mica really pop? But I think we need to make it a little bit more opaque, so I'm going to add another layer of the black resin. I guess I'll go ahead and coat this blue piece that I made earlier too. Okay, after curing it another 5 minutes, they're completely cured and there's no stickiness. I'm just going to add another quick layer of black resin to the back of this blue one. And now it's time for another 5-minute trip under the light. Oh, I messed this one up. I got a little black resin on the front of it. Well, that's okay. The other 4 look pretty neat. I'm going to use a silver metallic paint marker to go around the outline of some of these, just to kind of finish them off. Except, I guess I won't be using this silver marker to do it. When it comes to silver and gold paint pens, always have a backup. Oh, I think that looks really nice. What do you think? I think this one needs a gold border. That's nice and elegant. You know, I think if I had to recommend one bonus tool to a resiner to enhance their finished pieces, it would probably be paint pens. Now, this one isn't very ornamental on its own, but I do have a plan for that. This time I'm going to use the fine tip of this paint marker and just draw some random lines. And to enhance the abstract design, I'll use the wide nib on the other end of this paint marker to add some dots. Okay, now it's time to turn them into actual hair clips. I'll be using these alligator hair clips that I got at my local craft store, and this multi-purpose cement glue, which is super strong, and you could probably use the equivalency of E6000. I'll just smear a little bit of the glue onto the hair clip and then lay it face down onto the resin piece. You know, this one still looks a little unfinished, so I'm going to go ahead and outline it with the silver marker as well. These two pieces are pretty narrow, so I'm not sure if the hair clip will be fully hidden behind them, but we're going to give it a try anyway. Okay, it's late, so I'm going to leave these overnight to dry. All in all, I'm pretty impressed with Bond Crafter's UV resin. I really appreciate its lack of oxygen inhibition. I had just always assumed that sticky UV resin was something I was going to always have to deal with. So thank you, Bond Crafter, for changing my impression of UV resin. If you're interested in buying some of Bond Crafter's UV resin, I have a link in my description as well as a coupon code. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.